Hi everyone, welcome to Antioch Atelier. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jody and I'm a professional artist and teacher. I have been teaching what I love for over 20 years and I would like to share it with you. Hi everyone, this is Jody. I promised some of my students that I would show how to frame pastel paintings, and I have several different methods. One is a more contemporary method of putting the painting right into the glass on the frame, pushed up against it. Then I will show the more traditional form, which has a reverse mat with a reverse bevel. And then the final one will actually be how to store a pastel painting without framing it and keeping it safe. So this first one is pretty simple. I've got this frame from my stash of frames I get from thrift stores and people. I don't believe I bought it myself. I'm going to show you, it's just an inexpensive frame. In fact, I might even take this off because it's not really what you use for a fine art painting. You can, but usually you like to hang it on the wall. So I'm going to take that off first. It just has these little clips. So this is a pretty simple one. I don't know if you can see those. They open and close like that, and they go into a slit along here. So you put this in, that backing goes into a slit up here, you drop it down, and then these drop in. You push them in like that. Okay, so that's the simple frame I'm going to be using. Put this aside. Usually a frame will come, especially a glass frame, will come with a backing, some sort of cardboard, and usually a front sheet of paper that's basically telling you what you're getting. This is a pretty simple frame. One of the first things you want to do before you get too far into it is clean the glass. Using, you can't really, I don't know if you can see it here, but I already cleaned one side, but they tend to very quickly get dust and fingerprints on them. Sometimes I will do it at the end. I think I will show you quickly how to wash it off with an Windex. And you want to clean it well, especially if it's been sitting around for a while. If there are any scratches in the glass, you might be able to get away with it using the glass if you put the scratch against the painting or the mat, depending on what you're doing, and keep the shinier side on the outside. If it's got a scratch on one side and you put the painting on it, the scratch may not show up. But if it's on the top side, every time you move, you're going to see a little shadow of a scratch. So it's better if there's a scratch to put it on the inside of the frame, not the outside. Okay. So that's clean. I'll probably check it one more time because I'm not OCD. Really, I'm not. I'm more ADD. But I'll probably want to make sure it's clean and no dust got on it while I'm at it, while I'm doing the rest of this. And you see on this board, this is a piece of mat board. It happens to be on some paper. I'm not set up yet with a mat that I can cut on, so I'm using this with it's a chipboard. It's called chipboard. I took the sheet of paper out of the frame so I could see the size, and I made little marks on here just to help me, partly with setting it up in front of the camera, which is my first, this is the first time I've done this, but also just so I can have an idea of what the inside of the frame, the size is, because I've got a little pastel painting here that's really it was a demonstration, but I kind of enjoy it, and I was thinking about showing the whole thing. So it's too big for this frame, so I'm going to be cutting it down, and I had to make marks on the paper that would fit what I want. I made some marks for the frame, and then I set this very gently on top and made little marks where I'm going to cut it. A little square, little lines there, here, and here. So that's what I did. Now I have a straight edge and I have a knife. So I will be trimming it now. Where did I put my knife? Ah, here it is. And I have a T-square. No, I didn't pull out the T-square. I have a triangle in case I need it, just to check things. But let's see. This is not very heavy. I don't even know if I need to replace my blade. It looks pretty good. It's just a simple X-Acto blade. Oftentimes I would have a piece of paper on top of this while I'm working anyway. So I'm going to use this to protect my painting, like that. And then I'm going to cut the outside edges. I'd already made those marks so I knew where I wanted to trim, but I'm just going to check, make sure that looks about right. So I'm going to cut it. Now, when you cut with an X-Acto blade, you want to make sure you're cutting on the outside of whatever it is you want, so you don't cut into the artwork or the paper, whatever you're cutting. So I'm going to set that down and take this, hold it straight up and down like this, not sideways. Hold it so that the blade is up against the side of the straight edge, which is metal. It's easier not to cut it if it's metal. I have cut plastic straight edges before. And whoops, and I just went right off the edge. I went that way, which is why, do you see that? That's why you have this on protecting the painting. That's a classic case of me not being able to walk and talk at the same time, but we'll see a more careful cut. And there we are. Now these edges are not going to show, so if there's a little divot or something, it's not a problem. When we get to cutting mats, that's a bigger issue because the mat is going to be shown. And hand cutting mats can be a real chore. That move, it sure did. Okay, so this, by the way, has a piece of rubberized stuff on the back. Most of them have cork or something for drafting and drawing. And that's to keep it from slipping once you've got it down. I guess my head's probably in the way. Put it down there and put it there. You can hold it down like this and it won't slide. Whoop, even if I slide. I did it again. There we go. Okay. And then I always cut better on the side and the top, so this is going to be interesting. This is backwards for me. If I was lefty, it would be easier. So I'm not even sure how this is going to turn out right now. I mean, I don't think I'll screw it up, but it may be awkward. Okay, let's see here. Stop. There we go. Okay, hold it. And I think what I'm going to do is go up like this and have some control that way. Because I don't think I want to go towards my hand. I am using my right hand because my right hand is more trustworthy with a knife, I think. Also, if we're going to cut a mat, we're going to be using a mat cutting knife, not the little X-Acto blade, unless you're cleaning up something, which is probably what I have to do for the next one. Okay. And we're all good? Yep. Okay. And that's all to the end. Okay, and then the bottom one. Another one I'm not excited about doing. I prefer to do it like this, so it's away on the other side of my belly and everything. But I am going to cut it like this, and I'm just going to be very careful. Please always be careful with knives. It seems so silly to say that, doesn't it? But we artists frequently get X-Acto blade cuts. Now I'm holding this down to keep it from swinging, and it is less likely to with that rubberized stuff, but it can on occasion. It just did it at the very end, which is a nice little example. It just swung in just a tiny bit. So let's see, did I get it? It looks like I have to do one more run through. It's probably a not sharp knife. I just pulled it out and I brought the blades out, but I was hoping to get away with it. All right, there we go. Still didn't cut very well, did it? All right. Now I shouldn't be moving this around like it on there because I could, luckily it's slick, but I could destroy that because the pastel can stick on the back. If you use paper to cover it, make sure you don't let it slip around. And I just have noticed that the paper in these frames tends to be slick, which is a better surface to keep the pastel from coming off. Okay. This way's better. Okay. I literally think my blade is dead. And it does not like me. Right there. Okay. And I will be changing that blade. Okay. Cover it up. Always cover your blade up when you're not using it. Okay. Pull this away. And there's my pastel painting. Now, I haven't signed it because I had not thought of it as a painting I would want to show, but I'm really kind of enjoying it, so I am going to sign it. Now, do I want to sign it with a pastel pencil? I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. Do I have any up here? That's a big question. Maybe over there. Yes, I do. What color do I have? I have ultramarine blue, which I don't see in it at all. I have burnt umber, or what is this? This is pastel. I could do that, or I could use a piece of pastel to put my name down. Let's just see if this blue is in there. Close enough. I'm going to put my name right there. It may be kind of strong, but why not? And when I paint and I sign it, I have lots of chances to do it before, you know, in case I screw up. But, and you have to watch me do it upside down. I think I'll just, let's see, let's put it right here. No chances to screw this up. So there we go, that's it. So you can see the painting. Here it is. And it's really just sketches, but I thought it was pretty. And I decided I wanted to try it. I may change my mind later. Okay, so there is the painting. Now, I didn't bring my wipes, but I have paper towels. I'm going to get this out again. My frame. I'm going to look at it and see. Sometimes little specks get on it between the time you've cleaned it and the time you're ready to put the image down, the painting, the piece of art down. And I see little bits on there. So I'm going to try it one more time. This is the side that will be facing the pastel. So I'm just going to leave it like it is. I'm less likely to put my fingers on it. And I'm using a paper towel. Soft cotton rags can work. You know, for your windows in your house, you can use newsprint, and I have plenty of newsprint here, but I wouldn't use any newsprint that I'm drawing on. That would be a mess. Let's see if that's completely dry. Oh, a few little pieces of paper, so not the most perfect. If I was doing this in a frame shop, I would probably have some, what do they call it? Let's hold it up like this. You can't even see what I'm doing. I would probably have some compressed air to clean it off. I think that'll work. Okay, so now I'm going to put it this way so you can see it. Okay, and I've got my painting, and I'm just going to hold the edges like this and lay it down like that. Okay, it's a little, there we go. Now I need to put the backing back on it. I might put this paper too, because I think I would like to have some separation between it. Now this is just a piece of chipboard or cardboard, and it's full of acid. So if I were to frame this for long term or to give to someone, it would be better to have acid-free paper between here and this. I just don't have any as an example today. So, but the acid-free paper will keep your artwork from getting discolored from acids, lignins from the paper. So let's see what it's looked like before I put the back on it. Okay, very simple. Okay. Now it's unusual. This is probably the first pastel that I have put in, that I have done a framing for, that didn't have a mat, because I was always taught, I'm checking the top, that's the top. I could put a little mark on there if I wanted to. Top here. Framing pastels can be a real bother, because if you use a normal frame and normal mat, cut mat, with the, I'll show you one right here. This is a lovely little simple double mat, and it has a bevel cut on it. You can see the bevel right there on both pieces. And the problem with a bevel mat, if you're doing pastels, is that unless you've completely hardened that pastel with a workable fix-it or a final fix, you're going to have a problem with the pastel dripping, the dusting onto the mat. If you have a bevel like this, the dust will come right on it and even go down the glass. So what we do is we do a reverse bevel. Not that I would use this as the back of mat, I have to cut some myself, but you'd have two pieces of mat, and the front one would be a reverse bevel. So you can see the bevel, it would be reverse. And that would go up against the glass and keep any pastel from falling into the glass. It'll fall into this little bit back here between the first and the second mat. I'm going to be showing that later. I have to trim, if I want this to use this black mat, I'm going to have to trim this to give it a reverse bevel, or cut a reverse bevel out of some fresh mat, but I'm not near a mat board, a mat cutter today. So that was my first one. Okay, very simple. Anyway, I was talking about the traditional way, using mats. This is what some people are doing now. They didn't used to, because they thought that pushing it up against the glass would be bad for it, that the pastel will get mushed around or stick to the glass. And if you are using acrylic, it will stick to the glass for other reasons. But this is actually, having it pressed up against there is actually a very good way to preserve it, because the pastel has much less likely to drift off. So this is the new way a lot of people are doing their pastels. Now it doesn't leave you room for a mat if you want a mat, but it's a nice and simple way to do it. So there we go. That was way number one. So the next thing I'm going to show is how to create a clamshell protection for a pastel, so you can put them away. You know they're going to be safe. So I have this piece. Let's see if it's big enough. It is 16 by 20 probably. Yep, 16 by 20. And the image, the painting I was thinking about protecting is this one. And I'm not ready to frame it yet. I don't have the right size. Frame for it, but this looks like it'll be just fine. So I need to cut it in half. I need to cut the mat board or the foam core board in half. I'd prefer to have a mat knife, so I'm going to go and see if I can't find one. I think this little cutter is not strong enough. So I need to cut this in half. It was 20 inches, so I need to do 10 and 10. I had a regular pencil here. I wouldn't use a colored pastel pencil, just a regular graphite 2H or something like that. So, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So it's a little over 20, which often happens with the boards. They're sometimes cut a little longer, or usually a little longer. So I'm going to make a mark at 10 on this side and 10 on this side. So I know at least one will be 10 by 16. Is that what I said it was? Yes. And that's a little long for this painting, but I don't think it's going to be a bad thing. And since I need both, I'd be careful with my cut. I'm going to make a mark first. This. Hold your pencil with the flat side against the ruler, not out like this, because if you hold it like this, you can get a line outside where you want it. If you hold it flat against the paper, you can bring it down. Nice straight line there. So I can keep track of my cut. And I'm going to do this cut standing up. The drawing could have been done standing up too. Try to not get my head in the way. I'll leave it like this so you can see it. And you get the straightest lines if you're cutting towards yourself or towards the shoulder that you draw with. So to where I am or to the right. I am a right-handed person. That just gives you more control over it. And once again, this is a ruler with that backing, but I'm still going to need to hold it down because they will tend to drift, to kind of drift to the side. All right, so here we are. I'm going to do it, and cutting foam core can be a pain in the rear. I'm going to do several cuts across just to get it started. Bring my hand down and make sure that my knife is straight up and down, just like with the previous cutting tool, the X-Acto blade, and trying very hard not to slide out. This is an old knife. It looks like it's seen better days. Looks like I'm getting through. In each cut, I'm going to get a little deeper. Some foam core is better than others. This is a little thin, I think. Oh, very good. Sometimes I get all of it coming, so you get a little bit coming out there. A little bit of that stuff. Okay. The inner foam. All right, so now I have 2 pieces of foam core. I'm going to put the inside, have the inside be the better looking to protect the painting. Okay. Now I have to get my tape. This probably would work. I know I brought some other. I think I'll use this. So what we're going to do is we'll be taping. Actually, since this is vertical, I might be doing it this way. And I could shorten it up too. But we're going to be taping the painting to this board right there. And then we'll tape a piece of, well, actually probably this one, a piece of glassine onto the board. But first we need to tape this. And I think I'm going to drop it down a little bit. Is that what I want? How much room do I have back here? Yeah, that'll work. So right there. So how I'm going to do that is first, you can see how dirty, by the way, it gets on the back. You can try to clean it off. It's hardly, that's probably not a bad idea, because this is why you want to protect them, because they get stuff on them. The other pastels that they're sitting with. Okay, so take it off of this. Hold it like that. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 pieces of tape. This is artist tape. I'm leaving about an inch over the paper, but I'm not touching anything with it. So I put it on the board, on the pastel painting, but I'm leaving about an inch out, like that. So I've got two of them. They're roughly the same width from here to here. Okay, just like that. Bring the board in that I'm going to use. Okay, set this down. Pull this off. And about an inch down from the top. I have a little there I'll cut off. Then you take two more pieces of tape. Very carefully, you're going to set it down right on top of that other tape that you put down. So this is attaching to, overshot a little bit. This is attaching to the foam core, acid-free foam core. And that one there. And you can see it's now attached. You can see attached like that. Okay, so if I think I probably had that too close to me when I did the video. This is a piece of tape that went close to the paper. Okay, I'm going to cut that little bit of extra off with my knife. Come on. There we go. Now, I have this piece of glassine, and I put this on top of I put a piece of glassine, which is also acid-free, or supposed to be. Here's a piece of it right here. I put them on top of the pastel paintings to protect them. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little bit of pastel on this. So I either need to wipe it off, or because it came from this, I need to set it down exactly like it was. I'm going to do both, because there's little bits of green over here, which was on that. I have fairly thick pastel on it. But glassine, you can see right there, it came off. Glassine is easy to clean off, and it's perfect for protecting your painting. Now, it's not, it looks like wax paper, but it's not, and you wouldn't want to use that wax paper. Okay, so I want, now this was already used, and I'm just being cheap by using it again, but I want to make sure that I lay this down so it completely covers the painting. Normally I might take one that goes all the way out to the edge, but like I said, I'm working with the materials I have in hand today. Okay, and then I would put this on top like that. Make sure it's lined up. Okay, turn it around. Pull this over. And tape it. Out. And here. Now let's see if that worked. And that should stay right there. You're going to need to make sure it's completely covering, and your glassine, you can crease it to make sure it does. Okay, so that's on there. So what this is doing is that this is protecting the pastel painting, and then we're going to sandwich it with two pieces of the, is that the right side? I'm going to show you the right side. Two pieces of the foam core board, and that'll help keep the pastel in place because you're actually holding it together. Okay, so now I need to do is I need to tape these two boards together. Okay, how am I going to do that? It's actually been a while since I have, And because the way I did it, that glassine is very close. So what should I do? Let me think here a minute. I don't remember. I was going to bring another one with me to double check. So I think what I'll do right now is just give it two hinges on the outside. So close together like that. And I'm going to put the hinge on the outside edge. Actually, I don't want, that's what I'm going to do. I don't want my hinge to be in the way of the glassine. So I'm going to cut the glassine here at an angle like that. And over here, that. Then that here. Put another piece on the other side. Flip it around again. Last look. Okay. And then roll the tape over like that. Okay. Now let's see what happens on the inside. Okay. And you can roll this up to show people or to view it. And put it back like that. I think I would next time have a little more room than I left there. And then what you do is take another piece of tape, fold the end of it a little bit, makes a handle, put it here, and then you have a piece of tape. You can pull it off using artist tape that doesn't rip the paper, open it, close it, and put that back on. Then the last thing I do is identify the painting on here, because you might have 20 of these kicking around and not know what's under there. So this is Pastel Delta Fruit. Actually Delta Citrus. And that is finished. All done. Okay? Okay, for this demo I'm going to fake it. I have a very cheap little frame and some nice little document inserts. The only trouble with those inserts is that they're wonderful. They're two-color. You can see that. It already has a double mat, but since I would need to turn them around, I can't because they're glued together. I didn't realize that when I picked these up. I thought that'd be a nice quick demo, and it's not going to be because I'm going to have to take it apart, and I can't. So I'll be doing a second demo on this. I think I'll use the white one because I think white on white is a really boring matte, and I don't have to worry about it. All right, so let's look at the back of this cheap frame. Ugly frame. I would normally paint it first, or not even use it. One thing I want to do is do a demo on painting old frames to make them look more interesting, and that will be done in my basement studio, my framing area. Right now I'm at the gallery because that's where my camera was for this. And everything's a work in progress. Okay, so I pulled back what they used here, which are there you go, staples. There are other ways they're put together too. I'm going to take the whole thing out again, give this a little wipe down, Okay, here's my glass, which I think I'll wait to clean it at this point. Already watched me do that. Clean the space off. All right, so this, I need it to be like this, and I need a little thing to go in there. I don't know what I have. Nothing really nice. These are just samples. This is a sample. That's okay, it's nothing special. I thought about this one. This was, by the way, a demonstration of doing just limited palette, quick demonstration, painting a pomegranate. And then this is the one done in full color. This one really didn't get finished. And this is the full color one with a bunch of stuff on the outside. And I like that so much I want to frame it like that, but, uh-oh, there's junk on the back of it, isn't there? I'm cleaning that up. But these are too small for that. I'd have to just do a little bit there, and I kind of like the whole thing. So I'm gonna wait on this one. And I think I'll just pull out a little pastel I did. Even if it has to be cropped poorly, I think it'll be all right. Do that. Just, yeah, this will be interesting. Okay, this is a little 20-minute sketch of a model in pastel, and I'm going to see if I can trim it to make it look interesting. So the first thing to do is I need to look at it. Where would I trim it? I actually don't mind that, but all that colorful on the bottom, if I do this, I clip off half of her head. That's not much fun. So which way? This is like, what are we doing with our framing, with our composition? Sketch like this, I didn't really do much in the way of composition to begin with. I could do that. That's kind of interesting. Get all that color from her dress. I could do all her back with the back of her head. I rarely do anything without the model's head. That is a little strange for me. And if I put it like this, that's not much fun. That's okay, I don't mind that. It's whether or not I want that colorful stuff at the bottom. Let's go back vertical and see what I can get vertical. Vertical kind of is doing it for me. Right there, I think. Yeah, right. Right there. Yeah, okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. This does fit in there. And so I just need to make sure that I can fit this inside there. This mat is going to be upside down in the frame. And normally it would be a pretty mat, but I don't have a pretty mat, so it's actually the back of the mat. It's going to go in upside down like this. And then the paper would be put inside. Okay? So all I need is to cut my paper to fit. I'm doing vertical, right? And I want to make sure I'm in the right place here, so I think the first thing I will do is decide where am I going. That way more? That way more? Centered? I'm not fond of that arm. That's kind of interesting. I don't know why I like it centered. I'm not fond of those hands. Maybe I should change my mind. Do that, but then that's really nothing going on there. So we'll just deal. How about like I like that. I'll deal with them. The hands are off. I'll survive. This is just a sketch. And it's just a demo for a sketch, too. So I'm going to set this down. just like that. Take my pencil. Try not to put any pastel on my mat. I'm gonna make a mark here, make a mark here. Pull this up. I'll probably put pastel on the back. Oh, interestingly enough, I didn't. Such a nice paper on that side. Too bad I'm not going to use it. Now let me cut it. It's hard to see the line I made, and it's gray paper, and I used a graphite pencil. I probably should use a marker so you could see it. I'm used to using graphite. From now on, it will be a marker. Just make sure I get, actually, I'm having trouble seeing it. Let's get a marker, why not? Okay. Where did I put the marker? Or pens. Use a pen. Okay. And a marker, a pen. So let's get it back on there. This is one spot here, and I'm having a hard time seeing the other one. There we go. Okay, so that's my line there. You might be able to see it a little better. No, you can't. It really does have to be a marker. Well, I can see it, so sorry. And then I can put this here, and here, like that, and down. Okay. So now I'm going to cut those. I could actually cut with scissors if I had them around. I think they're all downstairs. So I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of something on top of this so I don't wreck it. You know what? I think I want scissors. Just to be easier. Well, I just don't want to put this on top of there. And I don't have a scrap of paper to cover it because this is a very old frame and it didn't have any paper in it. So, I think I found scissors. Little bitty ones, but they'll do. Little bitty scissors. Cut a hole on the outside. Once again, this will not be showing this edge. It'll be behind the mat. And on this side. Now I need to place it on here the way I want it. And I need to attach it to the back of this. So I think what I'll do is, that's completely covering? Yes. I'm going to go ahead and take, like we did last time, it's kind of a hinge. I'm putting tape behind here, probably out on the sides, because right in there like that, about that far from this outside. And this one, from here. Okay, stuck to me. Now, remember, I'd like to put it like that, although it'd be a different color. We're using a mat inside backwards. Remember that that bevel has to go this way. So I need to line it up where I wanted it, and I can't remember already. Is it that far down? Is it farther up? I think it's farther down. And it was about center. And the last thing is, hopefully I've got it somewhat squared. Now I just realized something. I had it pretty far down, and that doesn't leave me much room up there, so with the tape. So let me bring it back up. Look at it again, down. I just really like that color, but I want I don't want a half a head. I want either a little bit of a head, like a neck, or 3/4. So I'm going to run it right here and it gives me a little of the color. See exactly where I am. A little of the color on her dress, and 3/4 of her head, right there. And that's pretty centered. That's what I want. A little off center is okay. Now, my tape is too far out, but hopefully I got enough to stick. I did. Yoo-hoo! So I can get rid of those. And I'm going to use a knife to cut them. Because you don't want to put it on the front. There we go. And then you don't want to tape the bottom because paper will stretch over time. And if you tape the bottom, you'll get it will, you'll get a bubble in the center. And I don't know if it's really stretching, it's the amount of moisture in the air. So fabric will expand and contract, and I'm just adding more tape here so it doesn't fall off. It will expand and contract, and if it expands, you'll get a little, not a wrinkle, but a bump in the paper. So there that is. I'm going to set it aside, over here I guess, because I now have to clean the glass again. Or actually I didn't clean this one, but I have to clean glass again. Make sure I don't spray my painting. Just using regular Windex. Doing everything I can see. This, I believe, is the one that had the... This is the one I believe has a scratch in it, so I'm going to lift it and see which side the scratch is on it. It's going to need more cleaning. It's pretty dirty. Let me see which side is the scratch. Actually, there's a few dirt lumps. That's all on the other side. And I don't know where the scratch is. It's interesting. I was sure there was one on this. Oh, that might be it right there. So let me clean this side. This is a dirty side as well. And you want to clean it till it's dry, and when you're at that point, make sure your fingers are only touching the outside like 1/8 of an inch, because that's what will be under the frame. And let's see what it looks like. I'm not seeing that scratch, so I'm really wondering what I was looking at. Maybe I got it off. Let's check it on the other side. There are a couple little scratches that are underneath where the frame will be, so I'm not worried about that. Actually, looks pretty good. So it was somebody else that had a scratch, and I have no idea what. I think this is a side that's cleaner. Looks like, let's see, is that on the other side? I'm gonna put a little bit more. One more fresh towel. Okay. I shouldn't give it that. Let that dry. Pretty good. A little bit under here. That might be on the other side. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is ready to put in the frame. Here's the frame. I'm going to slide it in. And fit pretty well. Now I'm going to put this in it. So here's my painting. Turn it over, hold the back, and drop it in like that. Let's lift it up up and look at it. Not bad for a little sketch. I keep telling my students artwork looks much better when you put a frame on it. And then I have this piece of board. Once again, I would prefer it to be acid-free, but cheap and quick. And I don't have acid-free here that I can cut. I can do it later. So let's take a look at that. Now that is a double mat. I'm going to push these over. And I don't have a lot of room left because what am I missing? I'm missing a backing, I think. I think I might have thrown it out because it was in really bad shape. Is that that? Yes. This is really in bad shape. Could use that, but it's pretty junky. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I might, I would prefer better clips, but I don't have them right now. I just need something to push those over. I guess I will do this. Before I get them all in, I want to make sure I'm straight inside, so let's see. Looks pretty straight. Okay. So I'm just press these over. I'll be doing more videos like this in my framing studio, but this is just to start so I have something to show my students tomorrow. I'm not excited with these at all. I'm not even going over all the way. So that needs to be fixed. I need to use something else tomorrow. But anyway, there we are. I'm going to turn it this way so you can see it. So, small framed pastel. Let me see how close. Well, I'll try to get a close-up where you can see how this reverse bevel is hiding a tiny bit of the paper, and the piece of mat board underneath it, remember it was one of these and had two pieces on it, is leaving a little space so the dust, the pastel dust, can drop down there and not get on the frame, in on the glass. So this is a traditional way. Put it there, right there. You can see it. And then this is the contemporary way of framing it. Here, which is no mat, pushed right up against the glass. And then this is a way to protect your images, because you're not going to want to frame everything, probably. You'll want to store them, and if you have them done like this and piled up, they will stay flat, they will protect the pastel, and press that pastel into the paper to keep it even more sturdy. So those are the three things that I wanted to show you about framing pastels. Thank you very much, and I will see you again. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.